Welcome back to another quick review. Today we're talking about Malice, Book 1 in the Faithful of the Fallen series by John Gwynne. Um, I've been wanting to read this book for some time. I already own all three books of the Bloodstone Saga. So I heard great things about John Gwynne. I just never got a chance to read one of his books until finally getting around to reading Malice. And this book is great, man. I keep saying that about about just pretty much all the books that I reviewed up to this point, minus like Assassin's Quest. This book is just great. It's one of the better book ones that I've read, which once again, like I said when I read The Will of the Many, isn't saying much. Because I haven't read too many book ones. It was one of the better book ones I've read. I was just so captured by this world, by the characters. The characters ended up being like some of the best part of the story, which is crazy for me because there's so many. There's so many characters you have to follow, and it's not, at times it can be a little confusing. But I think the way that John Gwynne writes the characters, but as well as the events and everything going on, makes it very clear to follow. There's a lot going on, but it's easy to follow, and I like that. It's a book that doesn't waste its time. It gets to the point. It packs a punch, and I really enjoyed that. Speaking of characters, and go back to characters for a second. Corbin, great character. How do you pronounce their names? Their names are weird. Like I don't know pronouncing them Corbin or like Cohen or I don't know, but those two characters, Corbin specifically, was great. Cohen was a great female protagonist. Cohen was a great female protagonist. She was or a heroine. She was just she. I'm interested in her because I don't think this is like we're getting into like spoiler territory and whatnot. I don't think she's dead. I think she's fine. I think she'll be aight. But Corbin specifically, go back to Corbin specifically. Um, I just can't wait to see what happens with him because I'm almost positive that I don't think they ever confirm it, but Corbin is probably the bright star, and that there is the black sun, which I think will be a very cool and interesting dynamic in the next three books. So two of them I already own. So yeah, that'll be a very cool and interesting dynamic that I can't wait to dive into. Seeing Corbin's like it's kind of like this coming of age story, but not coming of age in the sense of like fits where you literally see him from like a child. Corbin kind of coming into his own, realizing who he wants to be and what he wants to do, his morals and whatnot. I thought that was very interesting. Everything with Storm was interesting. I hate the fact that for whatever reason we gotta give every main character a wolf companion now. Not sure what that's about, but I mean whatever I guess. But everything with Storm was interesting. All the side characters were interesting, and I think that just kind of goes to show the how good the world that John Gwynne created. The Banished Lands is genuinely like everything political, everything to do with magic and monsters. Because I love fantasy, but I'm like I don't go out of I'm not the biggest magic monster, like specifically monster stuff. I'm not the biggest monster person. We start getting into like medieval fantasy. I have my preferences, but I think how it's done, and this is really, it's really well done. I hate the giant snakes. The giant snake sucks because I have a horrible fear of snakes, but I hate giant snakes. But I like how all that's done, and then how certain characters are dropped in. Everything with Nethair and Veritas is. I actually think the Veritas chapters ended up being my least favorite, but they're probably the most important, ironically enough, and I just being a Veritas as a character, I did not expect. Like I've been frustrated with characters before. I just I just spent three. I just read three books where the main character was Chivalry Farseer. That like I never expected to be as frustrated with a character as Fitz again. And Veritas got me, man. I understand why it happened. I understand the circumstances behind everything, but Veritas had me hot. I don't know what in the world was going on. And then another thing that I respect about this book is that John Gwynne is not afraid to do messed up stuff or just do things to his characters. You get to like the last 100 pages of this book, and literally a variety of characters, including a POV character, just die. They're just gone. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a new one. Um, Not a new one, but that's interesting, and I think that sets up the stakes and a couple of character arcs, and I'm very excited for that. The stakes being that anything can happen. I like that. I like an anything can happen book. It leaves me wanting to read. It leaves me intrigued. I love that. Um, as well as character arcs. Like I think, not going into too specifics, I think we could have a very good character arc with Mayquin or Maquin, whatever his name, how do you ever you pronounce his name, Macon. I don't know. I think that could be a very good character arc and a very good uh, what's my words story. That can be fun. That I'm excited to see that, and ultimately, I think this book is just a great setup but that it's great setup, but it also doesn't, you know, stop halfway through. You get like your setup books, but you get to the end and it feels like we're explaining stuff and it just setting stuff up like it stuff up for the next book. This feels like a just a good story all the way through, and I love that. I love that. And the ending of the book made me want to immediately go read the next one, which I'm gonna do because I haven't done that for a while. I haven't done that since reading Stormlight Archive or Red Rising. I always do. If I'm reading a series, I do one book of the series, I do another book, and back and forth and whatnot. The original plan was to do Malice and then read Dune for the first time, or second time rather, because I got halfway through it. I didn't finish it, but no, the ending of this book made me want to continue on. I want to know what happens after this so badly, and so that's what I will be doing. But yeah, Malice is like a 8.59 out of 10 for me. I have like my issues with the book just aren't big enough nitpicks that would bring down a score that much. I think ultimately it just comes down to I like other books more. It's a great book. I like other books more. So yeah, it gets like an 8.59 out of 10 for me. I really enjoyed this book. I would highly recommend it. Thank you for watching. See ya. Bye.